Welcome to a special. Hey everyone, welcome to a very special episode of the Garage Quinn Show. Oh, I already fucked up. Hey guys, welcome to a very special episode of the GQM Garage Show. Today I'm going to be talking about my 1999 Mazda Miata and the all-motor build that I have on it. This is going to be the first installment of a project that I'll be doing this winter. So a little backstory on the engine. Some of you are familiar with the car. The goal for it was to create a naturally aspirated engine, pull as much horsepower as I could out of it without doing any heavy machine work. The idea was to keep the cost down and make the setup easily reproducible in case something were to fail. I can just go grab another OEM component, put it back in the car without having to go through any machine work and then be on my merry way and not have to retune. So the engine setup as it sits right now, it's a block from a 2002 Miata. I went with the later series block because they have a girdle which is supposed to add a little bit of support for higher RPM. The compression ratio on those blocks was the highest. This is from year 2001 to 2005. They were 10-to-1 compression from the factory. Factory 1999 BPs are 9.5-to-1. The head is still a BP4W head, which is from the 99-2000 series Miata. I didn't want to rewire the car for DVT, so that's why I stuck with the BP4W head. Bottom end is stock. The head has a little bit of work done. No machine work other than shaving it. These are non-interference engines from the factory. There's actually a lot of clearance, which allowed me to, when I took initial measurements, I started off taking 60 thousandths off, which is more than what any of the big Miata tuning companies said that they've ever done, especially because I'm running a higher lift camshaft. I spoke to all the big names before I did it, and the most I got for an answer was to take 30 thousandths off. So after taking measurements, I found that there was a lot of room. I ended up going with 60,000, and I think I can do a little bit more. The cams in the motor are from Miata Motors. They're 264-degree intake and exhaust. They are 10mm lift, so they're higher lift than the factory cams. Along with the valve train, I have SuperTech valve springs. They're stiffer single valve springs. They're rated for 8,400 RPM, which is more than I'm spinning the motor anyways. The retainers are SuperTech titanium retainers with the factory BP4W valve locks. So, the only other thing inside the head is I have a Toyota adjustable cam gears to dial when we were dialing in the cams. So this setup, along with the peripherals, the TWM 45mm individual throttle bodies, the Miata VP Racing header, the whole setup was good for 172 horsepower at the wheels and 128 pound-feet. And those numbers are on a dyno-jet, and they're corrected. So this winter I was doing a little bit of maintenance on the car. I was changing out the flywheel, and I noticed that the oil pan gaskets were leaking. So as some of you Miata owners know, you can't drop the oil pan when it's in the car because the subframe is in the way. So I pulled the motor out. I was going to clean everything up, but while I had it out, I decided just to go forward with what's going to be my final stages of development on the engine. And basically, it's still kind of, I'm going to throw a little bit more of a variable into the mix. So I'm going to take measurements again. When I originally puttied the pistons to see how much clearance there was, I had the new cams in and the total gears dialed in at 0 because we didn't do any tuning at that point. So I had the motor on, I had the head on on the block without a head gasket. So that was actually, the stack head gasket I believe is around 20 thousandths if I remember correctly. So that would almost simulate an 80 thousandths head shave. And there was still some clearance, but again, that was with the cam gears dialed in at 0. Now that the cam gears are tuned and cam timing is a little bit retarded and advanced, the relation valve to piston wise might be a little bit closer. So I'm going to pull the head off again now with the cams where they are after tuning was done, mock everything up and see if I can go more. I think I can probably do another 20 thousandths. That's what I'm hoping to do, so that'd be a total of 80 thousandths off. The calculations on these engines is for every 10 thousandths you shave off is supposed to raise compression approximately 1/4 of a point. So with 60 thousandths off of the head, that should theoretically bring the total static compression up from 10 to 1 to 11.5 to 1. If I can do 80 thousandths off, that would be around 12 to 1 compression. I didn't add this before, but the setup is tuned on pump gas. It's 93 octane, which we have in Connecticut, readily available. So my last stage of development is going to be the following. I'm actually going to port the head this time. The ports on these heads are okay, but they're definitely nothing in comparison to say the ports on a Honda VTEC head. So I'm gonna open the ports up. I want to shave it a little bit more. I'm going to stick with the 264-degree cams now and see how much I can make. These cams were peaking around 7,500, 7,600 RPM. I am revving the motor higher than what the factory red line is. Rev limit's at 7,800. The first stress component is going to be the rotating assembly, so I don't want to raise RPM any higher than that. You can already feel the harmonics not being too happy, and but to address that, I am going to get the Super Miata lighter, supposedly better harmonic balanced crank pulley, and I'm going to get a set of billet oil pump gears, just kind of have a little bit of peace of mind. One other thing I forgot to add with the head, to run these cams, or pretty much any bigger lift camshaft on a Miata, the 99, 2000, actually 99 and up Miata heads use the shim over the bucket lifters. They are solid lifters, but the shims actually sit on top of them and the cam lobe will hit the shim. I switched over to the Mazda Speed shim under the bucket lifters in order to run those cams, so I forgot to add that before. But this is going to be like my final send-off. The motor's going to make whatever it's going to make. I'm hoping I could do 190 at the wheels. As of right now, I haven't seen another stock bottom-end naturally aspirated Miata motor making anywhere near the power that this is making. In fact, a lot of guys with like built 1.6s aren't even making more than 160 at the wheels. So it's going to be interesting. If I'm not happy, or if I still want more after that, I'm gonna go to a different platform. I've been looking at the K-Series kits and the K-Series Honda kits, so I'll probably go in that direction if I'm going to do anything more. But so this is it, guys. Stay tuned. I'm going to have more updates, and I'm going to document some of the things a part of the teardown, and those will be coming later on in the video. So. Okay, so I have the head off, and I took some putty and I put it into the piston. Mazda's BP engines, they all have valve release cut into the pistons, so I'm only going to do one because the clearance is going to be about the same for all of them. But I have them in all 4 reliefs here. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put the head back on, and I'm going to time the engine back up with the Total cam gears where they were last during the last tuning session. I'm going to spin it, see how far the valves imprint into the putty on the valve release, and I'm going to measure it to see how much clearance I have left. While I had the head off, I took the factory head gasket and I measured it. It is 20 thousandths, so me putting the head back on now without a head gasket will simulate an 80 thousandths head shave, and as long as I have clearance, I should be good to go to bring it back to the machine shop. So we'll see how we do. so I have the head back on the motor. I'm gonna spin it a couple times now and let the valves imprint on the putty. Take it back off and see what we're left with. So I'm gonna start off slow. Make sure there's no resistance. Make sure I'm not hitting anything. So here we go. So far, so good. I don't feel anything, so that's a good sign. And that's back to top dead center. All right, let's pull the head off and see what we're left with. All right, so I took the head bolts back out, and I'm gonna pull the head off, check the putty, and see how much more we can go. Well, looks like they definitely imprinted into there. So I'm gonna go take some measurements and see what we got. All right, so looking at the impressions here, first I'll show you how deep the stock reliefs are. You have about 60 thousandths of space here. Where the impressions are, there's actually room. I was marking it before. It's actually just kind of getting to where the cutout, the relief cutout starts. However, if you look closely here on the crown, it's shiny. So the fucking valve is actually touching the piston just on the crown there. And then also, looking at the pistons that I didn't putty, on number 3 here, you can see a little shiny spot right there. And in the carbon, a mark right there. So even though these pistons do have valve relief cuts, the valves are still hitting the crown right there. So it doesn't look like I'm actually going to be able to shave anymore. I could maybe go 10 thousandths, but that's going to be pushing this so close, especially under heat and higher RPM. There's going to be a good chance that this can touch. So I think 60 thousandths is pretty much the max that you can do with 10mm lift cams. And that's where I'm going to leave it. So I guess we're just going to be porting the head at this point. One of the things I wanted to point out real quick while I have the head off is, so when you move to a 10mm lift cam, I would probably, anything higher than 9mm for these engines, the valves become interference valve to valve wise. So if you lose a timing belt, they're gonna make contact with each other. I'm just demonstrating this here with both of them. The cam lobes aren't even pushing down the valves all the way, but as you can see, they will hit if they go a little bit farther. So just wanted to make note of that and show you guys. All right, so I think this is a good stopping point. We could wrap it up here. Doesn't look like I'm gonna be able to go any more off of the head, shaving it anymore. I really wanted to do another 20 thousandths and bring it up to about 12-to-1 compression. I really was hoping to do almost 200 at the wheels using the stock block, but I don't see that happening without that compression. So I can still do the porting on the head. There's definitely gains to be had there. So I'm gonna stick to that plan and see if there's anything else I could do to maybe tweak it here and there. I might go to a slightly larger ITB setup. Maybe I can warrant going to a 48mm. We'll see where I end up after the porting. But yeah, so until next time, stay tuned. And if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to leave it in the section below. I'll do my best to answer it. This should hopefully be a quick turnaround. I don't really have much else planned, and I'd like to get this back on the road before spring. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys later. The power with these cams is peaking around 7,600 RPM. He's killing me.